Hello skaters out there, welcome to this video in which I will be comparing the ultimate comparison 3 wheels versus 4 wheels. I'm gonna help you choose your next skate. I'm gonna give you all the arguments why you should or shouldn't choose either of these setups. There's a bunch of pros, but there's also some cons to each one of them, and there is no correct answer, which is why I made this video to kind of guide you towards which one you should go for. Now, if you're completely new to my channel, my name is Victor Halthorp. I'm a 2-time Olympian on ice skates. I'm also a professional inline skater representing the rollerblade world team. I have more than 20 years of skating experience, 12 of those as a professional full-time skater. So I feel like I've gathered enough experience in order to make this comparison. Now, historically speaking, wheels have only gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. When I started back in the days, I was on 84mm wheels. Just to give you an idea, this is 110 for the 4-wheel frame here, and these are 125. That goes in the favor of the 3-wheel frame here because it allows you to skate with 125mm wheels, which is the largest you can have. That said, however, there is some rules and regulations that you must be aware of that really narrow the choice down for you. The 125mm wheels are not allowed for indoor racing or track racing. So if you are competing on a track, well, you should most definitely go for the 110mm to not end up with a disqualification before you even get going. That said, of course, if you are a younger or a new skater, then you might as well end up with a 3-wheel frame, but just for smaller wheel size. However, if you are not on 125mm, I will most likely recommend you to go with the 4-wheel frame here, because I do find that the main, arguably the only advantage of the 3-wheel frame is that you have more of a cruise speed, whereas in a lot of other ways, the 4 wheels here, if you're not looking to have larger wheels, it is, in my opinion, better to have multiple or more contact points with the surface. Which brings me to my next point here, the amount of contact points with the surface. Now, obviously, if you are on a 4x110mm skate, as you can see here, you're gonna have 4 contact points with the surface, which allows you to simply steer and maneuver better. A really easy way to kind of feel this very immediately is to try and take off 2 center wheels and see how that goes with only 2 contact points, and you will realize that you basically can't steer the skate at all. This for sure gives this one the upper hand when it comes to maneuverability and mobility around on your skates, which the slower you go, the more important that is, or of course if you have narrow turns. So if you're out skating in technical areas or urban areas where you're just looking to have more fun, again, I do think you should go with the 4-wheel setup. 3 wheels, of course, does not mean 2 wheels, but it does mean that you won't be able to change directions as easily. The length of the frame is also an important point. You can get both frames in different lengths. I generally think you should go for the shorter, the better, at least if you're not a professional skater. I rarely feel that I go fast enough that I need a longer frame. Generally, the 4-wheel frame here comes as a 13.2-inch length, whereas the 3-wheel frame here, it is usually indicated here below on the side, is a 12.8-inch length frame, which sounds a bit like you will have more of maneuverability here, but the amount of contact points simply just makes such a big difference that you are gonna be better steering-wise with a 4-wheel frame. Now, looking at the weight of these setups, generally speaking, the 3-wheel setup will be lighter. It does not make up for the fact that there is 1 wheel less, that they're smaller. So you are gonna save a little bit of weight here on the 3-wheel frame, which is also why I think, especially if you go a lot up or down, I recommend the 3-wheel frames here. When you go up, your skating is more simple. There's no double push really involved. And then when you go down, well, it's like having a higher gear, so you can keep more momentum and be more relaxed at higher speed. There's a reason you see all the skaters in the international field when they're skating marathons on the 125mm. However, I do think accelerating is a little uncomfortable on the 125s, but again, in the big races, you are gonna be accelerating from a speed that's already up there. And like I said, my comparisons were made at only 30 kilometers per hour, and I saw 1 kilometer per hour difference over the course of an hour at the same intensity. Now, this all points towards choosing a 3-wheel frame. However, this really, and I can't emphasize this enough, comes down to where you're at in your skating career as well as your age. If you are younger, still developing skater, honestly, it's way more fun skating on 4 wheels, simply just because you can be more playful with it. You can learn to steer, you can develop your technique easier with the 4-wheel setup. Now there's a lot more advantages, and there's a reason that we still have these. If you are not very strong in your shins and your lower back, well, this can again be an advantage to 4-wheel frame, because it's going to take off more vibrations, because there's again more contact points with the surface. Another good key point here is that you're going to be lower. Obviously, smaller wheels get you lower to the ground, and that allows you to be so much more stable. It does not seem like a lot. It's 1.5 centimeters. However, I really think that makes a big difference. I, as a professional skater with lots of experience, still get thrown off a little technically by wearing 3 wheels instead of 4. They fly off a little, I kick higher off the ground, and I also sometimes struggle with finishing my pushes probably to the side. It is not as easy to keep an efficient double push, because you can't change that direction well, you can't flex the same way on the wheels, and also it's hard for me to stay compact on my crossovers. Therefore, here on a final note, if I should give you one piece of advice, go for 4 wheels whenever you're skating indoors on a track, if you're a youth skater, or if you're still in the phase of really developing technically. However, if you're looking to set a new marathon PB or just go as fast as possible, then go for a 3-wheel setup. If you do like urban skating, cruising around, skating a bit backwards, whatever, be playful on them. Again, I would recommend the 4 wheels here. So it all comes down to individual preference. I personally jump back and forth. Whenever I'm racing marathons, I'll be on the 125 3-wheel setup. Whenever I'm on the track or doing technical drills, trying to imitate my ice skating, then I am on a 4-wheel setup. Ideally, you would have one of each, but keep in mind it takes a little bit of time to really transition from one to the other. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you want to subscribe to my channel, share it with your skater buddies, especially if they don't know which setup to go for, or if you are keen on convincing them they're wrong, if they are, then you can always use this as a good argument. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will leave a comment, tell me what you think, and tell me what I should look at in my next video. It was fun having you guys here. I'll see you around.